Please be seated. And I want all the young people in this room, that is anybody under 21, and then the rest of you can decide whether you want. I want you to come up and be, including you guys, I want you to sit in these front rows here, and then I'm going to have you do a little work for me. Couple of comments about the readings we heard today. We hear where Solomon gets his wisdom. God gives it to him at the time that he is anointed king of Israel, following his father David. We hear one of the most powerful passages from Christian scripture that we just actually heard at a funeral earlier this week, where Paul says, "I am convinced that neither life nor death nor angels nor principalities nor things present nor things to come, nor anything, nor height, nor depth, nor anything else in all creation can separate us from the love of Jesus Christ our Lord." And then we heard in the gospel these whole bunches of Jesus speaking of parables. And I just want to say that I don't know about you, but he gets to the end of all of those things. He talks about the mustard seed. He talks about the yeast. He talks about the pearl of great price. He talks about he just keeps talking about it's the net. And then he says to his disciples, "Have you understood all this?" And what do they say? They say, "Oh yeah, we get it." I don't believe that for a minute. And part of that is the nature of the ways he's telling these stories. Those of you who are in godly play, what do these gold boxes have in them? Anybody remember? If a saint box is red, what's a gold box? What did Jesus just tell a bunch of? Parables. Gold boxes are for parables. And the thing about parables in godly play is not only are they in gold boxes, but everything in the parable is flat. The other godly play materials have things that stand up, but not the parable boxes. So the parables are gold, the boxes are. And I think, like the people in in the gospel this morning, that not everybody who said they understood parables do. Every time I preach on a parable, I think about, for example, leaven. Leaven is a bad thing. If you're talking about the feast of the Passover, you don't want any yeast in that bread. And here, Jesus is saying the kingdom of heaven is like yeast being stirred into bread by a woman. The idea of going into finding one pearl and giving up everything for that one pearl. What does that mean about that man's family? All of these things raise questions and make you think. That's the point of a parable. So, sometimes people wonder what's inside a parable. Today, we are going to find out. Are you ready to hear this story? Okay, so we're going to find out what's inside a parable. And this is not a parable of Jesus, because it's not what? Gold. Very good. That's right. Okay. This is not a parable of Jesus. It's a different kind of parable. It's a parable about a parable. So, all we have to do is lift the lid, and then we're going to have the answer to what is inside a parable. Another box. So, Vivian, would you come hold this box and just stand there? But now I'm sure we'll be able to find out what's inside a parable. Another box, that's right. So, Rosie, come on up here and hold this box, please. And you can hold it so people can see the color of it. All right, and just stand next to Vivian, please. All right. Now, maybe now we're going to find out what's inside a parable. Another box, yes, oh my goodness, another box. And Patrice, could you come and hold this box, please? The people who've been in Godly Play remember this parable story, I think. Now they do, yes. All right. So probably we're done with opening boxes. Don't you think we should be able to find the parable now? You don't think so? And you are correct. We have yet another box. So Amy, you need to come hold this box, please. All right. Now what we've got is a box inside a box, and a box inside a box, and a box inside a box, and a box inside a box. We have a parable inside a parable, and a parable inside a parable, and a parable inside a parable, and a parable inside a parable. A box inside a box is like a parable inside a parable. Okay, I understand, I get it. Now I'm sounding like those disciples. I think I get it. A parable is like a box inside a box, and that's like a parable inside a parable. So here, we're getting to the point where people don't make many smaller boxes, but there is, believe it or not, another box inside here. So we need you to come and hold it, please. Scarlett, and would you like to come hold a parable box too? Come on up, come on up. Because guess what? We have, okay, we've got a little girl right behind you, and then you can do that. That's okay, you can do that. Okay, so this is, what color is that box?
Yellow.
Yellow, that's a yellow box. And what color is the box inside it?
Blue.
Blue, that's right. So we have another box inside a box, and so we have another parable inside a parable. You go stand next to Scarlett. She's waving it. She's pointing at herself. Okay. All right, then. Yes, you can come on up here. That would be yes, I am sure. All right. We're really getting smaller and smaller boxes. So what do you think? Oh, another one. Let's see, another one. And so if you'll hold it so people can see the color, and you stand there. Let's see, Mrs. Bowen. Deacon Elizabeth, Deacon Betty. We have a box inside a box, and so we have a parable inside of a parable. Now really, this is getting kind of ridiculous, don't you think? But, so I'm pretty sure we should be just about done. And we are to the point where we're talking about your grandparents. So, well, that's right, your grandmother is here, isn't she? All right, so come on up and you can be on this side. Okay, so we have, what color box is this? Purple, yes. We have a box inside a box. And there we go. And let's see, who else got? Father Michael. Where's Mother Erica? Well, actually, we've only got a couple more, so they're going to be there. I think we only have a couple more. Okay, here is a box inside a box, which is like a parable inside a parable. I need one of the two of you. Oh, look, we have one more box inside one more box. Go stand next to Deacon Betty, please. But this box is gold. So maybe this is the box in which we're going to find what is inside a parable. This is the box, a gold box. So let's see what's in here. hard to see, isn't it? Very hard to see. That's why people made boxes, because parables, Jesus told parables in words. And the way we can see words we can see words in English, in American Sign Language, but the rest of us cannot see words. Can you see the words I'm speaking? No, you can't see them. So, Jesus spoke in parable, he spoke words, and what happened is that people really, really loved his parables. They didn't always understand them, but they really loved them. So they kept them in a box. And then the next people came along, and they found the box of parables, but they needed their own box. It wasn't quite right, the box they had. So the next group of people came along, and they said, oh, we love parables, but we need a different box. And so they used a box and did that. And the reason that they made these boxes is so that they could keep them, so they could find them, so they could take them with them when they left and keep adapting them to their places. So along came the next people, and they had a box. And they made a box. And this went on for hundreds of years. And then some more people came along. And yeah, I think this is yours. More people came along, and they made their own box. They loved parables, but they wanted their own box. So they came along and they made a box. And they kept doing this. And let's see, what's the next box? I think that's yours. They kept doing this for a long, long time. You can stay up here. Maybe you could have too, Mrs. Bowen. They came up here for a long, long time. They did this. I said hundreds of years, then it turned into thousands of years. So they kept making the boxes. And they kept finding them and liking them, but needing to make them fit them, and so they made their own box, and they chose their own color. I think, oh yes, you're next. May I have your box? We'll put this box in here. Just stay up here though. Thank you. All right. And then they did it for thousands of years. Or more than 1,000 years, almost 2,000 years. Thank you. And that's not it yet. I think we might be to Patrice's box. Thank you. Yes, no, we're not. Amy's box. All right, thank you. So they just kept doing this, and they just kept doing it, and then they did it until they had their grandparents, like, there are three, well, no, that's all right. We have, maybe it'd help. We have grandparents up here, and we have children of adults and young people up here. So the grandparents came along, and they found the parables, and they made their own box. And then your parents came along and found the parables that their parents had found and kept in a box, and they made their own box. Because it wasn't quite right. What their parents, your grandparents had done wasn't exactly what your parents thought needed to be done, so they made their own box. And then that they did that, they made their own box. And now I wonder who's going to make the next box. Who's going to do that? Yeah, that's a good possibility. The children of the children of the children will be making their own box. And so I wonder, what could this box actually be? Anybody have any ideas? I couldn't hear you.
You said what was in the gold box? It was the mustard seed, right?
Nope. There was not. There were the words of Jesus were in the gold box. Yeah, the words of Jesus were in the gold box. The parables of Jesus. And so, what about this whole line of boxes? What do they make? They make a rainbow. They do. And this is not in the but we have there's some traditions in Ireland. What do you find at the end of a rainbow? A pot of gold. You find treasure. A pot of gold, and in this case, the words of Jesus. And what would your own box look like if you were to make one? What would your own box look like? I like a kitty cat. All right. What would your box look like? A camping box. How about yours?
Probably something sparkly.
Something sparkly. How about yours? About family. So it'd have pictures on the outside of family. How about yours, Janie? You like that? And how about you, Father Michael? You would like a black box. Okay. And how about you, Vivian?
I'll take a hot pink box.
A hot pink box. Now, how about you, Rosie? Candy. So would the box be made out of candy, or it would be, oh, okay then. And Patrice, what box would you have? A box of flowers. And Deacon Betty?
Flowers.
She can say flowers too.
I was thinking my box would be
Your box would be the words of Jesus. Stories of Jesus. And Mother Erica, what would your box look like? A makeup bag. And I think mine might be a rainbow box because all the boxes inside it. All right. Have any of you, I wonder if any of you could come close or have come close to being inside a parable? Yes, I think you're right. All of us have. All right, well, thank you very much. And thank you for helping. And you can go back to your seats wherever they are. Oh, everybody come back, and crowd in. You know, two people get next to me. There we go. Come on over, Rosie. There we go. All right. Jesus parable. All right. And just by the way, the parables that are in these boxes are the sower and the seed, and the pearl of great price, and the leaven.